Welcome back to another episode of the BOOM. Of course, I am your host, as always, for the evening of this particular program. My name is Cam G, and tonight we are just doing with the dynamic duo, the same duo you see over there on the table spot every single Monday night. So my co-host and only co-host and slash producer of this evening is none other than Metalcore Mike. To the right of me, Mike. Once again, we are joined here for another Wednesday talking about some AEW Dynamite. But before I get into that, how is your Wednesday evening going?
You know, here's the thing is we are the dynamic duo. I think we are arguably one of the best podcasting tag teams out there. And here's the thing is I don't say that to like toot our own horns or anything like that, but I think we are. I think, we have great chemistry and everything like that. We were a good team. We are a great team. And I want to come up with a great tag team name. You know, if Kyle Fletcher and Okada can come up with a cool tag team name, we got to come up with a cool tag team name because I think we can come up with a much cooler tag team name than they did. I'm just saying that right now. I couldn't wait until we got to that segment. I had to get it out. I did. But everything else I did mean. I think we are. I think we are one of the best podcasting teams out there. I mean, and I don't know what else to say. I mean that. I do. So, but Wednesday night, man. It's another Wednesday night, another AEW Dynamite. We discussed this in length, not only on air but off air as well. Cam, is the consistency of AEW and what they do, and even though sometimes they seem like they're having a bad show or they actually are having a bad show, you always got to sit back and think about, well, what happened on Raw or what happened on SmackDown? And you put those comparisons together and it's like, okay, was AEW Dynamite really that bad? I mean, because think of what we just had on Monday night. We had a tribute show mixed in with a go-home show to Elimination Chamber. And the focus was right on AJ Styles, but where was the full-on focus for Elimination Chamber? Where was it? You know what I mean? Where AEW, they are focused on Revolution. I mean, you heard Revolution almost every other segment, if not every segment tonight. And we're 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away from Revolution? So,
something like that, yeah.
How many mentions, and if you go back and watch Monday Night Raw, how many times did they really mention Elimination Chamber? Other than the 2 qualifying matches. When? What, Becky Lynch? When she came out? CM Punk when he came out? 2.5 hour show and you mentioned Elimination Chamber 4 times on your show? Where AEW mentioned Revolution probably 100 times in an hour.
I mean, to be fair, their card is the card for Chamber is, pretty much made.
It is.
And again, they only have 4 matches on their cards, every single card they have for pay-per-views. Whereas Dynamite, you're going to get at least 8 matches.
Yeah,
maybe more. So
yeah,
I see what you mean though, but
you get what I'm saying is like you see the focus between what AEW does and what WWE does. And yeah, I get it. The card is already made for Elimination Chamber, so they may not really have had to focus, but yeah, the stories are built, but add a little bit of dynamic to it. Like, we're sitting here talking about Becky Lynch and AJ Lee, like we already know that's going to be a WrestleMania match. Okay, so you got to get past Elimination Chamber in order to get to WrestleMania. Keep building on. Like, they could have kept building on Monday night. AEW, for example, like, we've seen MJF and Hangman Adam Page before. We have. And they just keep finding ways to add on to their storyline. Now, we are going to talk about their segment in a little bit, but was tonight the best? No. Was it great? No. Was it good? But was it that bad? It could have been better, but I don't think it was necessarily that bad when you go and compare to what we see on Mondays and Fridays. I can't compare Tuesdays because I don't watch Tuesdays. I've yet to see an episode on Thursday night with TNA, so I can't compare that either. But if I sat here and compared AEW to NXT, I know I would have people, marching to come after me because NXT is like a fucking, a movement. Like, I'm not fucking with NXT fans. No way. Nope. No way. So, but yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't know, man. Like I said, a lot of it is just me kind of just like I keep saying this, but just kind of going through the motions. I think with either company, outside of MJF to me, I think is 2026 thus far is MJF's. I mean, he's got 2026. I think in terms of professional wrestling in a chokehold, and it's not even close. So I know we are again months and months off of our table spot awards, which is in December. But if this keeps going the way it's going, MJF is easily going to win superstar or wrestler of the year for me. So in terms of the awards. So
I mean, we could see him in the number one. He's definitely going to be in the top 10 of the PWI. He is.
For sure.
That's a guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know,
if he's not, we got to start questioning the PWI.
I mean, their voting systems are pretty good, to be fair. I mean, some of the spots I kind of question myself as a fan, like how did this person get to this spot opposed to this person being in this spot? Yeah. But for the most part, their voting's pretty solid. It's not, it's not that bad. I mean, but there's always going to be that question because you always have that discussion of who's better than who and who did better in the year than, all that. Those questions are always going to be out there. And the thing is you see some wrestlers that are part-timers that end up in the top 25 and it's like, well, they were only there for, lucky half the year. Yeah. And then there's some wrestlers that end up in the bottom half of let's say there was a top 50, that top part-timers in the top 25 where the full-timer that's there every night is in the bottom half of the top 50. And it's like, why? But then it's like, yeah, but that person that's in the top 25 did a lot bigger, more important, more impactful things in their part-time duties than the person did full-time. So, but with AEW, the hard part is they have 2 shows to where they have a big roster, and Tony Khan tries his best. You could see it trying his best to put as many people on TV as he can with so very little time. Like at the end of Dynamite tonight, we're going to hear from MJF on Saturday on Collision. Okay, cool. But we heard from him tonight. What more is MJF going to say? Is he going to react to what happened tonight? We'll get more into it, though. I have a lot of comments about what happened tonight. I do. I have a lot to say about what happened tonight. I do.
So without further ado, we're going to get into AEW Dynamite. We start things off with the Babes of Wrath, who are the current AEW Women's Tag Team Champions. And they're basically just hyping their match. The rematch essentially from Grand Slam Australia a few weeks ago against Megabad. And then of course we see Megabad again, who for whatever reason they decided to run this back from Grand Slam. I don't know why, but yeah. So we're getting basically the rematch between Megabad and the Babes of Wrath for the Women's Tag Team Championships, with basically zero explanation, but that's AEW for you. Moving on, we saw the continuation of FTR and the Young Bucks. I guess on Saturday on Collision, we saw FTR basically disrespect the Young Bucks and their family. They attack their family and things like that. Now, my question to you is, we talked about this last week, and I believe Phil was one that had brought it up about this match needs a stipulation and whatnot have you, but this being I believe like their 5th time or so, having this match or doing this once again with FTR and the Young Bucks. It's just kind of from my argument was what more do you really do with these 2 tag teams? I mean, I think they've had really realistically one stipulation match, and that was a ladder match a few years back for the tag team titles, and that was about it. They really haven't done a whole lot of stipulations. Normally, their matches are just straight up just old-fashioned tag team matches. So my question to you is, do you think that this was needed to give FTR just a little bit more heat, or and to provide something I don't know, a little newer to the feud with FTR and the Young Bucks?
I mean, with adding in family, I don't think it was needed. There's certain storylines and certain situations in pro wrestling to where you can involve family and it'd be okay. And perfect example is, 2005 Eddie and Ray. Adding Dom into that, You know, it was a great story. It was a great way to have a summertime thing, and it ended at SummerSlam. But then there's other situations to where family members are involved that realistically, I mean, again, with Ray and his kids during the pandemic with Buddy Matthews and everything, like there's some situations to where the family thing works, but there's other situations where it don't. FTR and the Young Bucks have such a rich rivalry to where they didn't need to add it in. They didn't. They didn't need to go that far. If they wanted to add a stipulation to their match, by all means, that's fine. I'm all for them doing a steel cage. I'm all for them doing a tag team Iron Man match. I'm down for them doing Falls Count Anywhere. Any type of match that they have not yet done. I'm down for it. But adding family into the dynamic, FTR, we already know they're the asshole heels. They don't need to gain any more heat because of the Young Bucks becoming baby faces again. Everybody loves, party tassel Young Bucks. So you don't need that type of heat on FTR. They've already got it. So the addition of the family thing just made it doesn't need to happen. Didn't need to make the sense of it. And it was just, it was not needed.
Our first match, we have Jon Moxley, the current international. What is he? International champion? Yes.
He is the he's the Continental champion.
Continental champion.
Yeah, he won the Continental Classic.
I'm going to end up getting those two titles mixed up for some reason. But anyway,
it happens.
He is the current Continental Crown champion, and he took on in a non-title match tonight against El Clon. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, didn't care for this. I feel like as if they are kind of dragging Moxley into the depths of the unimportance, having him face somebody like El Clon, because El Clon has nothing going on for him right now. I still don't even know who he is, really. I would love a little bit more, I don't know, depth with him. Because right now he's just who was it again? It was I'm drawing a blank on these guys. He was the clone of the other match wrestler they had. I can't remember his name.
Hologram.
That's what it was. That was his whole thing. He was the clone of Hologram, and that shtick was okay if that's what they wanted to accomplish. But since Hologram has not been on television in I don't know how long, assuming last I heard he was injured. So I don't know. Since then, it really hasn't been all that interesting. He's just another member in this deep roster that Don Callis currently has in his back pocket. So again, just not a lot there for me to really, I don't know, just pay attention to. I guess I don't know. He's okay in the ring from what I've seen as well. Again, like I said, I just don't know who he is really. I don't know what he's supposed to be. So. Now there was something hilarious before this match even started. Okay, Renee does these little ringside interviews, here as of late.
Yeah,
she catches up with Marina, and now she's asking Marina about this like pre-match slap that she normally gives Moxley when he comes out, before his entrance. And so she asks Marina about this, and her legitimately her response is there is no peace for great men, and there is no pain behind the slap, just joy. Huh? What are you talking about? What is happening? What is going on? No, I mean, her thing is not talking. When she talks, the whole menacing badass like bodyguard, it's gone. Like not talking should be her thing.
I agree. I mean, like I told you, this show tonight, the first half of this show, I was cleaning up what I consider the studio area of my room. This is what I consider it is my studio area. I was cleaning it up a little bit tonight while paying attention to the show. And that was the first thing during this match that caught me off guard was Marina talking. I'm like, who the hell is talking? And I looked and I was like, Marina's talking. Hold up. When the hell does she ever talk?
Never.
She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't. And the whole thing with the slap thing, I mean, you weren't the only one confused. I get it. Their claim is, they can take pain and everything like that. That's fine. You don't have to speak in fucking riddles. Why do you slap him before every match? Because he doesn't feel pain. That's all you need to say. You don't need to riddle me this, riddle me that. Like,
keep it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid. Seriously. Like, then, And then I come back to continuing cleaning, and I'm listening to the match happening. And then I hear this, and I'm like, what was that? So I go over. This match caught my attention 3 times, to the point where I did sit down on my couch and I was like, okay, I need to watch the rest of this match. This match was not the greatest. It wasn't, but it was very heavy hitting. Very heavy hitting for what it was. I understand where you're coming from with the whole hologram and Cologne thing, the storyline there. It's pretty much been dead in the water for a long time now. And now that hologram's not there, what's the point of it? And yeah, we don't know the full backstory of how this guy was created. Just tell us that he's a artificial, intelligent wrestler that came out of the depths of the internet, and he was cloned out, but he became like virus stricken because you tried to make a wrestler that wouldn't join the Don Callis family. You know, dude, something like that. Something stupid. It would work because of the names. But as far as what he does in the ring, he's not half bad. Him and Mox didn't have a bad match tonight. But on Moxley with the Continental Championship, I'm going to say this right now, and you could take this as a hot take. You can, whatever. I think he's doing a much better job with it than Okada did. And I mean that, because yeah, he's having these, matches. What do they call them? The open. They're not. It's not. He doesn't have the belt on the line, but it's they're challenging to have a shot at the title. What do they call them?
Eliminators.
Eliminator match. Yeah, he has all these eliminator matches, and he's lost one so far. He's defended the belt. Okay. Every week he's having eliminator matches. He is saying that I'm going to be a fighting champion. But first, for you to face me, you need to beat me. And if you don't beat me, then guess what? You don't get a shot at this thing. Where Okada, he won the thing. He's probably defended it, 5 or 6 times in his whole reign, and really didn't put that much of a focus on this championship. That's why I like what Jon Moxley is doing with this. It is almost like their version of what the TNT title is supposed to be. The TNT title is supposed to be somewhat of a television championship, and it's not being treated as so up until the last couple weeks. So Jon Moxley takes it upon himself to say, look, I'm going to let these guys come challenge me, and if they beat me, they get a shot. If they don't beat me, guess what? On to the next. So I kind of like what Jon Moxley is doing with this Continental Championship, and I want to see it continue. I want to see where he goes with it. Marina Shafir, don't get on the microphone again, please. Please don't. Please don't. And there is one thing I am waiting for, Cam, and this is probably going to surprise you when I say this, but I am so waiting for the day where this group hands Renee a black leather jacket and puts her as a part of the Death Riders, and she accompanies Jon Moxley to the ring. Like, I'm waiting for the day to happen. I am. Like, it's got to happen at some point. You're telling me it doesn't seem weird that she's interviewing her own husband when we know this. Interviewing a woman that stands in her husband's corner about some shit about slapping him. Like, come on.
See, I honestly could see there coming a time when, like I said, again, if they ever pull the trigger in getting Moxley away from this group,
yeah,
I honestly see they she gets involved in this storyline, and the Death Riders are like, I don't know, holding her hostage or something like that or whatever. That's just going to make Moxley even more popular, honestly, because then he has to come to the rescue of Renee, yada yada yada. So I could see it. I definitely it's right there, and they cross paths literally like pretty much every week.
Every week, yeah.
So I could see it. I could definitely see her getting involved in a Moxley storyline for sure.
She literally sticks a microphone in their face every day. When are we going to make this a reality? I mean, I can understand if Tony's trying to stay away from that dynamic because we see it so much, especially over in WWE right now with CM Punk, AJ Lee, Becky and Seth, all that stuff. I get that. But you're telling me Jon Moxley and Renee on TV together would not make, number one, perfect sense, and number two, wouldn't fit? And I think it would. Mm-hmm. I do. I think it would work.
But like I said, I think for me, the bigger question here, at the end of the day, out of all of this with this match and whatnot have you, is where's Takeshita? I mean, this match was made with him and Moxley, no limits, no time limits for Revolution, and the man hasn't even been seen. The man didn't even. I don't even think he even accepted this challenge that was thrown out by Moxley. I think last week, a week before that.
Him and Fletcher were partying in Australia last week. Remember, they didn't come back, and Okada, was like, "Oh, Kyle Fletcher was my best friend," or whatever. Yeah. So I think Kyle Fletcher must have left Takeshita in Australia. He might have got him a little too rocked up, and he was like, "Oh shit, I gotta get back." And Takeshi's probably still sleeping in the hotel or something.
In that case, they should sell that. Don't even okay. So when they have this match, Revolution, right? They are literally playing it up like we can't find Takeshita. We haven't seen him all day.
Okay.
And he literally does not make his first appearance until the start of this match. Mox comes out, then he comes out when his music hits, whatnot have you. That's what I would do.
I'm for it.
Why not? Lean into it a little bit.
New little dynamic. And then after the match, like next night on Dynamite, Takeshi can be like, hey, you left me in Australia. Like, they don't have to necessarily be what I said, like, oh, you left him sleeping in a hotel room. That's just kind of wonky. But we know that they, Don Callis put out the aura of that they were partying because of Kyle Fletcher winning the title. Maybe Takeshi got in some trouble while they were partying, and Kyle Fletcher, he was able to get out of it, or Don Callis helped him get out of it, but didn't help Takeshita because he's trying to keep Okada happy.
There you go.
There it is.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, they got a lot of options here, so
they do.
They could just lean into it a little bit more.
Yeah, hire me. Tony.
But the next thing we had Swerve in a fantastic promo. First off, we had Prince Nana coming out and absolutely just berating the commentary desk, trying to make room for Swerve coming through. So yeah, it is confirmed, I would say, after this promo, that Swerve is definitely a heel. Whether or not it's going to work in a traditional heel sense, I don't know, but he's still getting cheered. Like, people still love him. So I mean, it's not like it's a full blown heel like a MJF or something like that, or Dominic Mysterio. They still like him, so it's not going to work in that sense, I don't think. But it's definitely a different Swerve, and it's a Swerve with more of an edge, based off of the destruction of Kenny Omega last week. And again, and Phil said it best last week. I guess that was the way to write off Kenny Omega, heading and building for Revolution, since he will not be at Revolution as it stands right now. But no, this was a great promo. He basically did exactly what he did to Kenny Omega last week, basically because he did not like the fact that he called and referred to Brody King as the most dangerous man in AEW and not him. So again, like I said, I think this was again number one, needed to write Kenny Omega off for Revolution, and number two, I think to give Swerve a little bit more of an edge, especially if he is chasing the AEW World Championship and eventually going to face MJF one-on-one. He probably needs that boost a little bit right now, because like I said, MJF right now is just on another level. But all in all, like I said, I think this was a fantastic promo. Definitely a different direction for Swerve right now, and I think that's much needed. It's just a little bit of a refresher, and I'm sure this is not going to sit well with Hangman Adam Page. Hangman Adam Page is dead set right now on MJF, but I'm sure he's not going to be he's not going to take too kindly to Swerve taking out his friend Kenny Omega. Let me get your thoughts on this promo from Swerve Strickland.
Yeah, I mean, I number one, I did like the fact that Prince Nana was leaning into this whole possible dynamic of being a heel. I always say that Swerve Strickland, he's not a heel, he's not a babyface, he's just Swerve. But I seen the way I felt tonight was he leaned a little more towards a heel side. That's how it felt. And if that's the case and he is turning into a full-fledged heel, I love the fact that he's leaning into it so hard, and it's not like a transitional kind of lean, taking his time with it. He just leaned right into it.
Yeah.
And Prince Nana, why not? I mean, 1 week the guy's coming out dancing, the next week he's like, fuck you guys. Like, Swerve's the man and nobody else is. So I'm glad that Prince Nana is also leaning into it. As far as him going after, MJF for the world title, if this is a full on heel dynamic for Swerve Strickland and Swerve ends up becoming the next number one contender, or if that's the plan, then I hate saying this because I want MJF to have a nice, healthy, long title run again. I want him to be the champion through this year. But part of me is thinking if that's the route that they're going to go with Swerve, then I see Hangman walking out of Revolution as the champion because the roads kind of lead down that pathway. I mean, these two guys who built, I don't know if you want to call it a friendship or just a business arrangement, whatever, to help each other out and have each other's back, turns into a match that's going to happen maybe in London at All In, maybe at Double or Nothing, wherever the case may be. And again, part of me feels like if that's where they're going, then Hangman's going to walk out as champion. Now, if they wait that long, if they wait to make the match for All In, or if they wait for Double or Nothing, I could see it being a Double or Nothing match if they want to do it sooner. But if it's something that they're going to wait for All In, but they want to keep Hangman in the title picture, then they're going to have Hangman walk out with the title at Revolution, only for MJF to go win it back. And then Hangman, they're going to play a little bit of hot potato with the title until they get to All In, because All In's in July this year, right? I believe so. I can look. I believe it's in July this year because it was in July last year. There we go.
No, it's in August.
Is it in August? Or they moved it back? Yeah, August 30th.
August 30th. Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a wait. So for them to play a little bit of hot potato between Hangman and MJF for the title, as stupid as that sounds, and especially for a world championship, you got to go back and think about the day and the age to where that happened. ECW back in their days, I'm not talking WWE ECW. I'm talking about the actual ECW. I mean, they changed their titles around like crazy. I mean, impromptu title matches would happen on TV 5 minutes before they go off the air and somebody becomes a new champion. Like, it happened, So, and for as big as of an ECW fan that Tony Khan was when it was around and he went to the shows, I could see him having that mindset of, all right, this is what we're going to do in order to get to August 30th for Swerve and Hangman. Yeah, that's 5 months down the road from now, but it doesn't hurt to have that mindset of, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we got to do it. So let's get the wheels moving now so everything starts to make sense. Not that we're jam-packing everything and cramming everything to confuse people. Because we see that at times. We do see them do things that are very... it happens more than often, or more than we'd like to see, but I could see that. I could see Hangman walking out at Revolution if they're leaning into the full-fledged heel thing with Swerve.
We'll definitely have to see. Brody King immediately responds to this and says, well, hey, Swerve has a problem with someone else, Kenny Omega preferably, calling him the most dangerous man in AEW, but he has a problem with saying that Swerve is the next AEW World Champion. So he is getting back into the World Championship scene as he's in a match with Mark Davis. We will get into that later in the program. The next match we saw Orange Cassidy taking on Gabe Kidd. Again, for me, I would say this is just random, kind of just out of the blue.
Very.
And yeah, and this to me is the continuation of the downfall of one Orange Cassidy. Gabe Kidd beats Orange Cassidy clean. 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. And I'm like, interesting. It's sad how far he has fallen. Again, the man, I will always bring this up because that was his best run in AEW thus far. Had the best international championship runs in that belt's existence in AEW.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking it can only go up from here. The next big thing, the next best thing he could do is win the AEW World Championship. Now, the issue was when that time finally came around in said storyline or in said feud, Jon Moxley was on the reign of terror to end all reigns of terror with that world championship. And they were hell bent on having him keep that world title. And it looked like them two might have been the two to feud from now until the end of time. Unfortunately, Orange Cassidy then suffered some injuries that kept him on the shelf, and they just kind of moved on. And the one that was the one to dethrone Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship was none other than Hangman Adam Page. So, and he comes back, and I mean he's kind of just bouncing around from unimportance to another unimportant feud or one-off. I mean, he just had a mixed tag hair versus hair, and they'd had that, and then that was just kind of done. Now he's on Dynamite facing Gabe Kidd, and I don't watch Collision, so I don't watch a half of this company's programming a week. But unless they started something on Collision, I'm sure they probably did. As far as Dynamite goes, they have had absolutely zero beef. So I don't understand what the significance here is with Orange Cassidy facing Gabe Kidd, or what the stipulation is, what's at stake here. Just nothing. It's just a match to fill time. So I don't really know what is next for Orange Cassidy. I want something bigger, something better for him, but it seems like every week it keeps just going further and further downhill for him. So get your thoughts on this match, Cassidy versus Gabe Kidd, and just the overall outlook for Orange Cassidy in 2026.
I mean, I was waiting for you to say getting worse, but downward spiral is a good one too. Yeah. I mean, you had Orange Cassidy months ago when Jon Moxley was champion. He was literally trying to take the belt away from Moxley. Then he gets hurt. That's where, this all started at, because then you bring him back and Mox isn't champion anymore. Yeah. So it kind of threw away the dynamic of what they could have continued if they would have kept the belt on Jon Moxley. I think what the big thing was the question of when was Orange Cassidy coming back. And Tony Khan was facing a lot of grief from, the IWC about Jon Moxley holding that belt, us not seeing the belt on TV. It's in a fucking briefcase, and all that stuff. So Tony probably went into panic mode and thought, okay, we got to get this belt off of him. It's just the whole thing of shit timing, because, 3 weeks after Moxley loses the belt, back comes Orange Cassidy, or a month later, something around there. He came back pretty close to when Jon lost the belt.
Yeah.
So
like that,
it was not a big split between the time of his comeback and the time Jon lost the belt. The thing is they could have held on a little longer. That's where Tony Khan, as an owner of a company and a booker and a writer, has to say, fuck what the fans think. I'm going to do what I want to do because I want to get to where I want to get with my story. And I have a feeling that that's where he wanted to get. It's just that he was catching a lot of grief, and he knows what it's like to be a fan. So he went with how the fans felt, got the belt off of him, and there it was. But now you have a guy in Orange Cassidy who comes back, and the question is what the fuck do you do with him? Oh, let's stick him in the conglomeration, back with the conglomeration, and just have him feud with whoever these guys are feuding with. The problem is nobody in the goddamn conglomeration is feuding with these guys. So it's random. Oh. It's random. And now we're going to see him and Darby Allin possibly team up to take on Gabe Kidd and his guys. And there it is, of Darby Allin not being done with the Death Riders, because they are somewhat of an extension of the Death Riders in connection.
Yeah. And
Orange Cassidy's going to continue doing random things like hair versus hair matches, Tic Tacs on a pole match. I don't know. Like, who knows? Random shit. And it kind of stinks to see, because for a while there, we thought Orange Cassidy was starting to become a little more of a serious wrestler without losing his gimmick, and it just slipped away. So it was random. I don't know if anything happened on Collision. I don't watch Collision either. me and you talked about this the other day. There is so much pro wrestling nowadays that sometimes you need to give yourself some breathing time from it, because there's just so much information to take in. 2.5 hours on Monday, 3 hours on Friday, 2 hours on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then pay-per-views and PLEs that happen on the weekend. It's a lot of information and a lot of storylines, a lot of wrestling, everything. So you sometimes got to give yourself a breather. And, that part of taking that breath is sacrificing what shows you are not going to watch. And just so happens Collision is one of them. So I couldn't tell you whether there was a story on Collision or not with these guys.
Like I said, man, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea. But speaking of Darby Allin, after this match, of course, one Clark Connors, frequently teamed with Gabe Kidd, came out and for a post-match attack on one Orange Cassidy. And of course, what I would like to refer to him as AEW's Batman, essentially. Darby Allin comes out for the save, does some wild stunts off the top rope with his skateboard onto the back of Gabe Kidd. I think there was an insinuation of basically you can see the writing on the wall, essentially, with Darby and Cassidy versus Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd probably at Revolution. So again, random, but again, this hopefully, Cassidy aside, is Darby's send off into something else. I would hope. I don't know. We'll definitely have to see there though.
I don't see it being a main card thing. I could see it being a 0 hour thing though. I don't see him putting it on the main card.
Possibly.
But at the same time, again, it is AEW, so they can end up saying, you know what, they're going to probably think, oh, this is going to be a good, hard-hitting, dynamic match. Let's throw it on the main card.
And get Darby in a match. The man has come out and been the Cape Crusader for weeks now. He kidnaps people during the course of matches. He comes out for the save, post-match. Like, get this man on Dynamite.
Right?
The last match I've seen him have on Dynamite was weeks ago against Pac, when he got suplexed onto the steel steps. That was it. That was his last match I've seen him in.
In his closure with the Death Riders.
Yeah. And here we are still. So I don't know what's happening. I have no idea. No idea what's going on. We head to the back with Renee once again, and she's standing by with Chris Statlander and Thunder Rosa. I guess they make some tag team match against the Sisters of Sin this Saturday for Collision. Now, I don't know what they're going for or what they're trying to accomplish here with Statlander continuously warning her about the Sisters of Sin or whoever she's warning her about, Tekla or whoever. I don't know where they're going with that, because, I mean, Thunder Rosa, again, we've seen her be on her own before and face, a plethora of talent in dangerous, quote-unquote, threats in different feuds she's been in. Yeah. I think she can handle, whatever they're called, toxic triangle or whatever. She can handle them. I don't think there's any real danger there. But anyway, we'll definitely have to see what they do there. Maybe this is another tag team for the tag team division. I don't know.
I mean,
long term,
maybe it is. Thunder Rosa and Chris Statlander as a tag team. I mean, it's a little weird. It's an odd pairing. It is
a little weird.
I mean, because we do see some. We know it's not. There's no official tag team division, but some of these women that are getting paired together, they seem to fit with their styles and dynamics and everything. Most recently, the Birds. They're arguably the best tag team in the women's division, and they just got there, like as a tag team, I should say. Didn't just get there officially, but just became a tag team. And this whole warning Thunder Rosa thing, like, sadly enough to say, the Sisters of Sin and Tekla aren't doing anything fucking special.
No,
they're really not. Like, I get the whole, like, oh, I had a rough match. She really roughed me up in this match type of thing. But this is Thunder Rosa we're talking about. Like, yeah, Thunder Rosa's only been in the business for 10 years, maybe a little more than that. But if you go and look and where she's wrestled and the experience she's had,
yeah,
this is like a walk in the fucking park for her.
Yeah.
I mean, why? She don't need warning. And I'm glad that she told Chris Statlander that. Like, I'm glad she didn't just be like, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. Yeah, the mushy shit. She was like, you know what? I don't need that. Like, I've been through worse. I'm glad she did that, opposed to, hugging and kissing and, oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm gonna, as long as you have my back to no, I'm not scared of her. I've been through worse shit. I can handle shit with her. Like, that's how it was. And I'm glad that she did that. And I'm glad that she said that opposed to the mushy shit. I am.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll definitely we'll see where I don't know where that goes. Maybe there is another long-term tag team for this tag team division. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know if
It is kind of
like
an odd pairing.
I don't know if I'd like
I'm not.
though.
I'm not really for it right now.
I'm not either.
They just don't look like. Well, as it stands right now, they're not really a tag team. They're just kind of an alliance. For the sake of convenience, because they have the same enemies. But
yeah,
they're not really a tag team yet. I'm just saying the potential is there, I guess, if that's what they want to do. I don't know. Moving on from there, we had our next match with Kevin Knight versus. Now I still call him Mansoor because I don't know his AEW name.
that is his name.
But it is Mansoor.
That's his AEW name. Yep.
I don't got to change it. Awesome. So Kevin Knight versus Mansoor in this another random one-off probably match. Again, hey, I like Kevin Knight. I think Kevin Knight has probably one of the best drop kicks in the business.
Yeah,
honestly, it's a nice looking drop kick. Honestly, Kevin Knight's awesome. He really is. They really haven't done a whole lot with him as a singles guy. Again, it's just because I don't know where he fits in at. Again, this roster is just extremely bloated. So there's just not really time for a lot of these talent that they bring in and time for them to realistically shine. After the match, he got on the mic. And again, this is another head scratcher for me. He says it really doesn't matter what the stipulation for Hangman Adam Page and MJF's match for the World Championship at Revolution. He says that Hangman Adam Page is going to wipe the floor with MJF. And when Hangman Adam Page wins the World Championship, he wants to be first in line for a shot at the AEW World Championship. That's the head scratcher to me because the man has not really racked up a lot of big wins against notable names. And I mean, even former world champions to date. You beat Mansoor. So I don't think Mansoor is the key to getting a world championship match against either MJF or Hangman Adam Page for that matter. So that's definitely the head scratcher to me. But yeah, if you have any thoughts on this match, Kevin Knight versus Mansoor.
Yeah, here's the thing about Kevin Knight is I like Kevin Knight as well. He's very dynamic. He has his drop kick is awesome. He has a really good drop kick. Again, I like Kevin Knight. He has a good dynamic. I don't think right now he has to really fit in anywhere. I mean, he's 1/3 of the trios champions. He is in the tag team with Speedball. And him and Speedball weeks ago said, like, look, we can go win the tag team titles. We're holding the trios titles with Hangman right now. But what about singles gold? Like, maybe we should chase some of that since Hangman is chasing the AEW world title. So they made that claim. But in order for them to go after championships, they got to win matches. And they got to start somewhere. This is basically the start for Kevin Knight. As far as Speedball Mike Bailey, I don't see him really making that, carving that path. Where Kevin Knight, he's coming out and facing opponents, whether, he challenged Hangman tonight. Like, hey, I want to be first in line for the AEW World title. I mean, everybody's going to, want the shot at the AEW World title. Whether he gets it or not, that's still yet to be known. I don't think he will if Hangman wins the title. I just think it's one of those like, hey, my focus right now is coming out, racking up wins, and kind of moving up that invisible ranking system that no longer exists and getting closer to a singles title. Again, I don't think Kevin Knight needs to fit in anywhere right now. He just needs to go out there, do his thing, win matches, and then maybe in the next month or so, if they keep him working the way he's been, because he's been in a match every week the past 2 or 3 weeks. Keep him working the way he is. Maybe he gets to the ranks of the TNT title, the Continental Championship, the International Champion, something like that. I would not mind seeing Kevin Knight win a lower end title like one of those 3 championships. I wouldn't. I think he would be a good champion. But then the question would be is, do you keep him on this path of continuously, like if he would win a championship, would he be your next guy to come out and defend a championship every week? Or are you going to do something to build a story with him? Because he's good on the microphone. So we know he can build a story. But the question is do you have him come out and just defend the championship and talk after a match and be done? Or do you build stories with him? I think Kevin Knight would fit in very well being a mid-card champion, though.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I definitely could see it. Next up, we had the highly anticipated. This was the one thing I was waiting for, I think, all night with this show. The only thing I was waiting for basically on the show, essentially. We had the face-off to determine the stipulation for the AEW World Championship at Revolution between MJF and Hangman Adam Page. Again, if nothing else I took out of this, MJF is he's just gold on the microphone. Yeah, he's absolutely golden on the microphone. Extremely, extremely entertaining to me. But this particular segment, to me, just made him look absolutely foolish. It just looked ridiculous. You made him look like a clown. Congratulations. If that's what you were trying to accomplish, congratulations. You did it. You did it with 5 gold stars.
Yeah.
Good job. So I guess initially they came to a point where they don't know what stipulation they want to have outside of a Texas death match, which I pretty much said they were going to have one last week, which I was desperately hoping that they weren't going to do that, just because they've done enough Texas death matches. Like, I've seen enough of them. Like, and I guess at this point, that's just Hangman's match. That's basically what they're saying without actually saying it. It's just his match now.
I don't think he's ever lost one either.
No, I don't think so.
Memory serves me right. I don't think he's ever lost one. I'll do my job and I'll look.
I think he might have against Swerve, but I could be wrong. Because they had again, they had a series of matches, and I think the one he did lose was against Swerve. But so essentially they didn't know what match to have or what match type to go with outside of a Texas death match. So MJF is the one that suggests that they flip a coin. Yes, you heard that correctly. Flip a coin in order to determine what match they want to have in the stipulation they want to have for this match at Revolution. Now, MJF's suggestion for his match, I guess the one positive, the only positive, is it fits MJF's character, because that just sounds like something MJF would do. But in hindsight, it is the worst stipulation I probably have ever heard. A one-sided, no disqualification match where he can use weapons, all weapons he wants to use, no problem. But Hangman Adam Page can't use weapons. If he does use weapons, he is disqualified. That's the weirdest stipulation I've ever heard of.
It's been done before. But it's been done before. It has been.
I think you're right, because I feel like I have seen or heard of something like that before, but I can't remember who it was necessarily. Yeah. But it's just a bizarre stipulation.
Yeah,
you could have came up with something better than that.
I mean, the only part of the stipulation that really baffled me was if Hangman even looks at a weapon, he gets disqualified. Like, that's the only part of the stipulation I was like, what if he accidentally glares at one when he's going to pick you up off the mat, or like go to the outside and his eyes just suddenly connect with a table or a ladder or something?
He's gonna have sunglasses on the whole match.
I mean, that's what I would do so you don't get caught. You were right on that. November 18th, 2023, Full Gear, Swerve beat him in a Texas death match. So you were right on that. I mean, you ever have one of those moments to where your brain is telling you to say something or text something, but then it does, like, you don't physically do it? You ever have any moments like that? So when I had messaged you and said, the double-sided coin thing, I literally wanted to message you 2 minutes before they flipped that coin and said, watch this thing be a double-sided coin. But for some reason, my brain was saying do it, but I couldn't physically do it. I was just kind of like, just pay attention because maybe something's going to, make me fully interested, because I was interested in this segment. But the moment that they brought out the two stipulations that were at hand, I was like, you're fucking telling me Iron Man match ain't in this mix? Like, I so wanted this to be an Iron Man match. I did. But I was just like, just text Cam and say, watch it be a double-sided coin. Just do it. Just do it. And I'm just like, I couldn't physically pick up my phone. I couldn't physically message you. I'm like, son of a bitch. And then it happens. It happens. They made him look like a fool, especially with that tonight. Like, I get the whole double-sided coin, but don't point it out. Well, just let it happen. Let MJF win the stipulation. And then if your plan is to have Hangman win the AEW World title and you want to keep this thing going, that's one way to keep it going. Again, we talked at the top of the show about Swerve Strickland being the challenger for the AEW World title, possibly at Double or Nothing, possibly at All In. There's a big split there between the time of even Double or Nothing. We're 3 months away from Double or Nothing. That's 3 months of filling time. That's 2 more pay-per-views before that and probably 10 TV specials before. You're telling me at some point you can't fit Hangman and MJF for the AEW World title in there and switch it back to MJF until you can get to the point of getting it back on Hangman for Swerve? Like, come on. Like, just let it stick and let Hangman go win, if that's the plan of having him win, have him go win the match that way. Plus, you could always, you can do so many things to where, the referee gets knocked down and Hangman picks up a weapon and uses it and then wins the match that way because the referee didn't see it. If the referee doesn't see it, then it didn't happen, right?
They definitely would have did something like that, too.
Exactly. So there's many ways they could have done it. And you didn't have to make MJF look like such a big fool by, number one, doing the double-sided coin thing or pointing it out at least. And number two, Hangman slayed him on the mic tonight. I mean, the things that Hangman were saying, had me doing this. I was trying to protect my own tongue. Like when he mentioned about, cutting out MJF's tongue, I was like, fucking hey, ugh. Like that had me flinching a little bit. Talk about dragging him across broken glass. I'm like, oh, just thinking about it just had me just. And even though you see it so many times, it's still a point. It's, you feel that physicality, man. Like, That's why when a lot of people sit here and use the F word when it comes to pro wrestling, you know what word I'm talking about, the 4-letter F word, and I'm not talking about fuck either. Yeah, when people say that, it's like, go do the things you see these guys doing on TV, and I'm not just talking about bumping, or talking, or punching or anything like. Go climb a 20-foot ladder and fall off of it. Go drag your body across broken glass and thumbtacks. Go put yourself through a table. And there's one way you can do that. Go to a Buffalo Bills game, go in the parking lot and throw yourself through a table. They'll help you out. But it's still the point. That's why when people say that, that's always my question of, you go on a 20-foot ladder and learn how to fall off of it and then tell me whether it's fake or not. It may be predetermined, but you tell me it's fake. Come on now. And I'll be honest with you. I used to do security for a local promotion here about 18 years ago. Nice. And during practices and stuff, used to hang out with some of the wrestlers and everything like that. And I've felt the wrath of a slap across my chest because I wanted to. I've also felt a steel chair. It hurts. It fucking hurts. So, yeah. It hurts. It sucks.
That's rough.
Oh, it sucks. It does. Oh, sure it does. And that was just during a practice session. I was just like, yeah, go ahead. Just do it. You give me your permission. I was like, yeah, go for it. I want to see what it feels like. I've been a fan for how many years? Like, I want to know what this stuff feels like. And they were like, okay, permission. Okay, whap. And I'm like, oh, shit. Like, all right, I was like, steel chair time. Let's do it. So boom. And I'm like, oh, man, that sucked. That sucked. It sucks. So tell me it's fake.
Yeah. But towards the end of this segment, obviously, we had Brody King come out. We had Just Be come out as MJF tries to walk off after getting his match with the
the loaded coin essentially. He gets back in the ring. They basically want to do, or Hangman wants to see the coin essentially. And it just the way that they did it was stupid too. I mean, Tony Schiavone's like, oh wait, this just in.
Yeah.
Tony Khan said, like, what? Like, if again, there's so many things wrong with this. If you were going to do a Texas death match, you should have just said that last week instead of going through this whole double-sided coin thing. Right. This whole circus of a segment. It was just, I was looking forward to this, and you just completely just made a fool out of MJF, and it's very unfortunate.
So. And that was the thing is like MJF, I have the coin in my pocket. Let's do it that way. Good old fashioned coin toss. Okay, cool. And that's why I say stick with it. Because yeah, if you go flip an actual coin, not a double-sided coin, an actual heads and tails coin, and it doesn't land the way you want it to land, then you got to run with what you say you're running with.
Yeah.
That's where you got to go and say, you know what, maybe we should have just said this is a Texas death match. Okay. Then you had everybody and the fucking audio guy come out and, get back in the ring, go. You didn't have to do that either. Just let MJF walk away. You got 2-3 weeks until this pay-per-view. You could have set something up for next week to where something else gets done to really decide. Like, you could have prolonged this. And yeah, as stupid as that sounds, it's like, okay, we didn't trust the fact that this was legit. Let's try and run this back and make it better. That's what they could have done. But instead, I like the idea of they could have just said, you know what? This is a Texas death match. That's it. MJF, you won the title. You did it this way. Hangman, you're the challenger. You went through this gauntlet of guys just to get back to being the number one contender. You get to pick the stipulation. Texas death. That's it. That's all you had to do. This addition to this story was so stupid. And this was your most anticipated segment on this show. Like, I would really like to see the viewership numbers on this segment. I would. And see what they were at. Because if I was in that arena, that segment would have probably made me walk out. And I would have cut my losses and said, fuck this, I'm going home. Like, I can go home and watch the rest of this on Max. Fuck it. That's what it would have done.
That's completely understandable.
And look, I didn't turn it off. Like, because I was about to hit the B button on my controller and get the fuck out of the HBO Max app. I was. After that.
The AEW Grand Slam Australia rematch for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Mega Bad taking on the Babes of Wrath. This was an okay match. But the newcomer Lena Cross was the difference maker to interfere and cause the DQ for for Mega Bad and their team. So the Babes of Wrath retain their Women's Tag Team Championships. I don't know much about Lena Cross. The only thing I do know is that she basically looks like a cross between freaking Jamie Hayter and Megan Bain herself. That's what she looks like to me.
That's fair.
So that's the only thing I know about her. She just looks like a cross between them two. Other than that, I have no idea who Lena Cross is. So
Lena Cross is from Perth, Australia. She is 30 years old. She is currently a wrestler in Japan along with AEW, and she's on the independent circuit. And her championship accomplishments so far, she was ranked number 92 on the top 250 female single wrestlers in the PWI 250 in 2023. Nice. And she is a former Sendai Sendai. I'm guessing that's over in Japan. Sendai Girls Tag Team Champion with Veni. I don't know whether they're current or if that's a past championship, but that's
past.
Trying to think. They dropped the titles 2 months later, so yeah, that's a past championship because they won them November 9th, 2024. So that's when they did it. So, but yeah, 30-year-old pro wrestler. It looks like she just got into it back in. God, when did she start training? When did she even get into wrestling? I mean, everything starts, all her stuff here starts in 2017. So I'm guessing she debuted in 2017 somewhere, but probably like the mid 2010s. So she's been in the business for about 10 years, 12 years, give or take. So there's a little backstory on her. I've never seen her. I didn't know who she was until tonight. So, but I agree with how she looks. I mean, with her height and everything like that, she has. Yeah, I could agree with that. I can.
But your thoughts on this match?
I mean, it was okay. I mean, you put the tag team titles on the line. It was a rematch, and you have the challengers, valet at the moment, come out and cause a DQ. Like, what was the point of the titles being on the line then? Why couldn't you just make it a match? Why couldn't you put the stipulation in there if they won, they get another title shot instead of saying, "Hey, women's world title tag titles are on the line tonight." I get it; it's a defense to say it's a defense, but what's the point of the what's the point of the challenger's valet coming out and causing them to get DQ'd? Well, that makes no fucking sense. You would think she would come out to try and help them win the belts, not cause a DQ.
Right.
So
you would think that would actually end up causing problems with Lena and Megabad because you cost us the match anyway.
No, we
could have won the tag team titles.
Yeah, no, they were holding hands and hugging each other as they were walking up the aisle, basically. So we're okay with getting DQ'd for tag titles.
They're definitely probably saving this for Revolution. I would say this is gonna be another match.
I would definitely make sure there's another team in there somewhere. I would.
Yeah, I would say to freshen it up. I can agree to that.
Yeah, because it's not going to mean jack shit at the pay-per-view. Nobody's going to want to watch it.
Not at all. No, I can agree with that. The next match we had Mark Davis versus Brody King. I would say this was to be expected. This was definitely a hard-hitting match. Just two gigantic mountain men essentially
slapping meat.
Just beating the hell out of each other essentially. I think this was probably a match where you can kind of see Brody King's evolution more. And he's definitely evolving, and I would say he's improving. He's getting better. And they're definitely pushing him to what? I don't know. Again, I still can't picture him actually winning the world championship. If they ever do pull that trigger at some point, I will be, probably the most shocked person on the planet. But it's a great spot for him. They're finally highlighting him. This should have come a long time ago for Brody King, I do believe.
Yeah.
But right now, I think the position they have him in, it's kind of like a why not thing. What else is he really doing?
Yeah.
They, Brodito, they lost the world tag team titles, and since then they have really done nothing. So, and I think one of them definitely deserves to be pushed. So, and I think they're doing a good job thus far. Just with the spotlight, I think they're giving Brody King. Brody King after the match, after he wins the match, he says that he still wants a fight March 15th, pointing to Swerve Strickland. So I guess we are getting a match with Brody King versus Swerve Strickland at Revolution. Kind of an odd match, if you ask me, but an interesting dynamic. You got a clash of styles there. So I guess they're both trying to prove who was the more dangerous man in AEW. And then, of course, his former or his current tag team partner, Bandito, comes out and he wants a fight as well. We then see the appearance of Don Callis and Andrade. And I guess Andrade, will be the one to accept the challenge thrown out by Bandito. So Bandito and Andrade for Revolution is a possible as well on that card. So definitely two interesting matches that I don't think anybody could have predicted for Revolution. But your thoughts on this match and the possible two matches that could possibly be made on Revolution?
Yeah, couldn't predict these matches to happen, but are you mad at it? Like, I wouldn't be.
It's filling out the cards.
Yeah. Number one, it's filling out the card, but number two, the way Andrade and Bandito did their thing tonight, they didn't have to say two fucking words.
True.
They pointed at each other. They knew what they wanted, and that was it. Sometimes it just works like that. Sometimes just doing that makes more sense than, flapping your gums on the microphone for 5 minutes. Just point at each other. You know what you guys want. You want to face each other on March 15th in the middle of this ring at Revolution. That's all there is to it. They don't need to say anything. And we're probably going to get a really good match between them two if it happens. Brody King and Swerve, again, makes sense because of what Swerve said earlier in the night. Brody King, he's making the claim that he wants to get back into the AEW world title picture. Yeah, was it a little odd to the fact that his first opponent on that road was Mark Davis? Yes and no. Because if you look at it again, I said it last week, normally when we see one person in a tag team go down, the other person suffers by not being on TV. Mark Davis is keeping his presence, which is cool. This wasn't a bad match. It surprised me that it was a 2-segment match because they did go to a commercial break and came back. They broke it into 2 segments. But at the same time, again, it was 2 big guys beating the hell out of each other. And it was an even matchup. And the only way that Brody King, and you asked me this, like, how is Brody King going to get it back on that road if he's facing guys like Mark Davis, who's not even in that picture? Well, it was kind of self-explanatory after the match because he said, Swerve, I want you March 15th. Where's Swerve at? He's in the world title picture. Okay, there it is. He's going to take on Swerve. And if he goes beat Swerve, it wouldn't surprise me. Why? Because, yes, for some people, it seems weird for Brody King to be in this position. But if you go back in history, there have been a lot of guys who've gone out and won world championships in history that kind of surprised you. I brought this up last week. Jinder Mahal back in 2017 beat Randy Orton for the WWE title, held the belt for almost 6 months. Pretty much through the summertime. Kofi Kingston and Kofi Mania. That wasn't even supposed to happen. He had a 6-month reign. Yeah. You can go back as far as the 80s with Kerry Von Erich beating Ric Flair in Texas Stadium. And the Von Erichs wanting to bring that world title home. Who did it? Kerry. And then what did Kerry do? He went on to the WWF and became the Texas Tornado. So there's always those dynamics of, can you ever see this guy being a world champion? Probably not. But at the same time, it's like, is it really out of the realm of possibilities? No. And Brody King is kind of, like you said tonight, he made that transition of, like, it was almost like his coming out party of being a part of the world title picture. He's starting to kind of fit into that look of, I can be that big badass dude that can win a world title and have a really good run. So I could see, I can possibly see Brody going into Revolution and beating Swerve and being back into that world title in picture. And I got to say one thing. I bet Aleister Black is kicking himself in the ass right now. I bet he is. Because he had Brody in his group for how many years in AEW? He leaves, and now look where Brody's at. He's in the world title picture. What's Aleister Black doing in WWE? Absolutely nothing. Bet he's kicking himself in the ass right now.
Absolutely zilch right now. We move on to one Kyle Fletcher who won back the TNT Championship in a very good ladder match at a Grand Slam Australia against Mark Briscoe. He tells the former champion, Tommaso Ciampa, that it is not Sylvie. This is not his championship. It is now Pinky. And the TNT Championship once again has another makeover with a now pink strap. Why? Why can't we just ever have just the regular black strap TNT Championship? Why does every other champion have to have a custom belt with the TNT title? Why can't we just? Why is this needed?
I mean, to be fair, it's not the worst look though. I mean, it's not shaped as a fucking scissor.
Oh god.
So there could be worse custom belts out there than a pink strapped title.
Those were I still have nightmares about those titles.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
Awful.
Because every time I see a custom belt, my first thought is it can be worse. Yeah. It could be shaped as a scissor. And it doesn't look fair. As long as Kyle Fletcher continues to wear pink suits, it'll fit. But if he goes out and wears a blue suit one week and a black suit the next and a yellow suit the following week, then it's kind of like, why is the belt pink? He needs to continue wearing the pink suits in order for it to fit. And I hope that that's the case. The only other color that would fit as far as suits is concerned with that championship would be a baby blue suit. That's it. Other than that, nothing else would fit. He might be able to pull it off with dark blue. I can't believe we're talking about fucking suit colors. Maybe a dark blue suit would fit, but that's it. Or maybe a black suit would, because black and pink's not a bad dynamic. It's not. It's pretty.
Bret Hart.
It's fitting. Yeah, it's fitting. So, yeah, okay. Yeah. But the pink strap, I'm not against it. I'm really not. I think it looks pretty decent, especially with the plate colors. I do.
I would say as long as he doesn't change his ring gear colors.
Yeah.
If he changes his ring gear colors, then it's not going to make any sense.
Yeah.
So
we're talking about fucking gear and
yes.
suits and
yes,
belt straps.
This is how low we have gotten with this program. Yes.
I mean, some of the stuff that he said though about Mark Briscoe, or not Mark Briscoe, Tommaso Ciampa, saying like, hey, you know, you think you have claim to this championship? You were here for 2 weeks and you had the belt for 2 weeks. Like, in a small sense, it kind of makes sense. It does. It fits. And it could be the beginning of a good story between Kyle Fletcher and Tommaso Ciampa if they let it happen. You know, yeah, I mean, I hope so too. I do. And we'll just have to see. But him and Okada, what are they calling themselves now? Proto-Okadas? Yeah. I think we can come up with a much cooler tag team name than Proto-Okada. Yeah, but then it rolls off the tongue too. You think about it. Proto-Okada. It rolls off the tongue a little bit. I still think we can come up with a better tag team name though. Just saying.
But Kyle Fletcher and Okada are now, I guess, known as Proto-Okada. I would say this definitely is going to play some kind of part in again the eventual turn for one Konosuke Takeshita. So we'll have to see there. Moving on from there, we had, well, first of all, after that was the main event, which was, I don't know, some multi-man tag team over the top ridiculous circus. I don't know. I watched probably 5 minutes of it and turned it off. I didn't watch it. I don't like multi-man tag team matches. They do enough of them. This was just probably going to be the biggest spot fest in the world, so I didn't care. And this had no real relevance to anything regarding Revolution or the world title scene or anything like that. So I didn't really care to see it. Mike, I'm sure you didn't watch it either. So
here's the thing: is I gave them a 2-minute head start because I was like, I don't care about this main event. I'm gonna go take a shower. I was able to shave my head, take a shower, and take my dogs out, and this match was still going on when I got back. I was like, it is 10 after 10, and this match is still happening. Yes. And then it ended, and I was like, okay. And I got back like right at the end of the match. So I honestly didn't give 2 shits about this. So yeah, I didn't care. I didn't. I mean, I get that, you know, you want to make a big splash in a city like Denver to where it's a place they don't really go to, and you want to give them something special. But the thing is it really special when you see a lot of it, even on TV? You know what I mean? Like, there's no special dynamic to it. AEW does these type of matches all the time, 8-man tags, 10-man tags, but then throw in the dynamic of anything goes. Like, it's been done, seen it, everything like that, and it wasn't special.
It gave me Stadium Stampede vibes because they were everywhere.
It did. Yeah, it did.
They were all over the place.
I did come across an article then that I want to talk to you about before we get off the air tonight. I have a question for you then. So I'm going to wait till you close out Dynamite, and then I want to ask you this question. It has nothing to do with Dynamite.
Okay. Well, sir, I mean, that's all I got for you for AEW Dynamite for 12/25/2026. What is your article, sir?
Okay, so I came across an article, and it has to do with AEW, and that's why I'm asking you this tonight, opposed to waiting until Monday night, because it has to do with AEW. So Speedball Mike Bailey apparently did an interview this week, and he had made some mentions about turning the Trios Championships into intergender championships, and that he would like to see that happen. So Cam, as a fan of AEW, as a watcher of AEW, how would you feel about the Trios titles becoming intergender championships?
I think I need to keep my mouth closed because I literally talked about this. I said the next thing they're going to do, because I was talking about Tony Khan, not Tony Khan, but Tony Storm in Orange Cassidy, and I said, watch, they're literally going to do intergender tag titles. There it is.
So I do want to pull up the article real quick to see if I can quote him here. But yeah, I came across this and I was like, I'm gonna wait. This was like 5 minutes before we got on the air here tonight, and I gotta type this in here real quick. Into intergender titles. Okay. So Speedball Mike Bailey currently one half of the key details. He mentioned something about removing the gender restrictions for the titles, and he thinks that the limitations are ridiculous. Okay. And that he is a huge advocate for turning these championships into intergender championships, somewhere down the road. Because he feels like you see intergender matches happening all across the indie scene and everything like that. And when you look at AEW, a lot of people call AEW, basically a local promotion, but on televised. It's on television. It's an indie scene on television, basically. But for him to say that he wants to, break those restrictions and bring it in, the one thing is every city still has their own, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. So there's always somebody in charge of rules for sporting events in cities. Okay. And it all has to do with that. For example, back, it was during a TNA pay-per-view of back in the early 2000s, we were supposed to see Abyss and somebody else. They were supposed to be in a Monsters Ball match. But because of the stuff that happened in the match, they couldn't do it at the arena in Tennessee. They had to do it back at the Impact Zone. So they filmed it at the Impact Zone and showed it on the big screen in the little arena they were in. So they have to be careful of what they do. And some places aren't for the intergender thing. They won't allow it. So I think that's the one thing that AEW would have to do is figure out what cities they can do these matches in and have these belts on the line, because they would want to showcase it. So, but I mean, I wouldn't be against it either. I think it would bring a cool dynamic. I mean, even if they, they would cross the restrictions of having men and women holding the same titles, but still have it to where men versus men, women versus women. But we've been seeing as of late in AEW where the men are performing wrestling moves on women. They've done it in the past couple of weeks, along with the women doing moves on the men. So find those cities, make sure you can perform those matches in the city and go from there. That's what I think they would need to do. And I don't think they're too far off from making that happen. I don't.
I can see it. I'm not opposed to it. First of all, I'm not opposed to intergender matches. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. And like I said, and you're definitely right. I mean, we just seen Willow not that long ago eat a nasty paradigm shift from John Moxley. So
exactly.
I could see it happening. I'm not opposed to it at all. But I wouldn't want to. The only thing is I just wouldn't want to add another championship. If you're taking a title and turning it into something else, fine. That's perfectly fine. But adding more titles, no, please God, no.
And that's what it would be, is turning those trios belts into intergender. So two women and two females and a male, or two males and a female would hold the belts. That's what it would be. So I could do. And I don't think AEW is too far off from it doing it. No. Again, I think it's just all about finding these cities that they'll be able to do it in, because there's certain cities that don't allow things like that to happen.
Yeah.
So, no. We'll see.
I can definitely see it.
Yeah.
But sir, that is all I got for you tonight for 2026 on this episode of The Boom. Now it is time to plug yourself. Where can we find you?
Yeah, Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, Metal Mike 714 is where you can find me. I do TikTok streams for Fortnite. Probably going to do a stream tomorrow afternoon. It all depends on how my day goes. Other than that, I'm live here every Monday night with Cam on the Table Spot after Raw, here on the Boom with him and Phil after AEW Dynamite every Wednesday night. I'm also on the Huddle Hub Podcast, twitch.tv/the Huddle Hub Podcast, youtube.com/at the Huddle Hub Pod. You can also find us on X, TikTok, and now Instagram at the Huddle Hub Pod. Live every Tuesday with John, live every Sunday with Cam at 10:30 a.m., with John, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Weekend show during the off season I've been doing on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Me and John have a couple big shows planned with free agency coming up in the next 2 weeks. This Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, our special segment is going to be about cap space for each team's cap space. We're going to be talking about all the NFC teams. And then the following Tuesday, we're going to be breaking down all the AFC teams' cap space heading into free agency. So you don't want to miss that. And go check out all the content that we have right now on the TikTok, on YouTube, and on Instagram as well.
As for me, you could keep up with me on my socials, more particularly on Cam's Wrestling Corner. I have my Elimination Chamber predictions to still upload, which has already been recorded. It's just sitting in my drafts right now. So stay tuned for that. I just haven't uploaded today. So it's still sitting in my drafts, waiting to be uploaded, begging to be uploaded. And then, of course, right here on the networks every single Wednesday night with me, Middlecore Mike, and, of course, the addition of Mr. Phil Khan talking about some AEW Dynamite. And then again on Monday nights, every single Monday night on the Table Spot with me and Middlecore Mike, talking about some Monday Night Raw after Monday Night Raw. But as I always say at the end of every stream, love and appreciate you guys come by and check out the stream tonight. And love, peace, and prosperity. And we are out.
Yeah.